Okay, I know I'm changing backgrounds with like every video, but I really need to put some more videos up, so I figured I would start with one that's actually worth talking about, surprisingly. Ender's Game. So Ender's Game is the movie adaptation of the acclaimed book called Ender's Game, surprisingly. And just so you know, this review is coming from the eyes of a guy that has not read the book Ender's Game. And at this point in life, the reason I would have read this book is because the movie's coming out, and every time I do that, I just end up like not liking the movie because I feel like the book was just so much better and it pisses me off, and reading just takes a lot of time, and I would have gone a while without seeing this movie, and I'm glad I saw it because it's a good movie, and I'm not even in my review yet, and I'm already telling you that. So basically, what happens in Ender's Game is there's this big space station that wipes out an entire population, and this really awesome Captain Commander guy's like, hey, I'm gonna go sacrifice myself to end that. And then it's the future, and now the people are like, hey, we need another commander like that. So now we have Harrison Ford and a group of people, you know, trying to work to recreate what happened before. And the only way to really make a soldier and a commander like that is to make him start out as a child. Start his training as a child, because you can make more out of that. And so the last best hope of mankind is Ender. And now we have a movie about a bunch of kids who are training, and it's like if an episode of Starship Troopers and Harry Potter had a kid. This is basically what would come out of it. And ultimately, I really enjoyed Ender's Game because, first of all, Ender, he's a pretty awesome character. Seeing him in the trailers, you thought he was just going to be just a generic kid, but really, he stole the show. I liked him more than I liked Harrison Ford in this movie. I really like how the movie conveys how Ender saw the world. Everything's tactical. Everything requires a strategy. That's really cool to see from a character like this. And you're supposed to raise your crew with positive reinforcement, not negative. Don't be a dickhead. And Ender is great, and the kid that played Ender was perfect in this role, and I just thought his character turned out to be really, really good. I liked him. And like, while I'm talking about characters, I just want to point out that there is this little kid, like the little nerdy one from Polar Express, the little Napoleon type kid that's like, hey, what are you doing? That always gets in like Ender's face and is giving him crap, and Ender's like, you know what, I don't have to take your crap, I can just open an airlock and kill you because I'm smarter than you. And if someone really wanted to give Ender enough crap, Ender could do that whole slow-mo Sherlock Holmes thing and win because he's smarter than you. And as I'm describing this, it may sound like the movie's just a lot of kids in boot camp, which it is. The movie basically is just a bunch of kids in boot camp, and it mainly follows their training rather than the actual action. Not saying there's not action in it, because it does reach that point, but really like 3/4 of this movie, I mean maybe even more than that, is the kids in boot camp and training. And personally, I like to see training in movies. It was in Pacific Rim, and I liked seeing it in that. And honestly, I like seeing it in this. It wasn't that bad, but it did feel like it dragged on a bit in some scenes. And another negative that I felt, there were some things that were shoehorned into this movie so the audience can know how Ender would react to that situation. And really, there are situations that could be longer, but they can't have like a 6-hour movie just to show you how Ender would react to something. So what I felt like they did was, you have 2 minutes to shoehorn in this completely useless scene just to show how Ender would react to it. Go. And the emotional scenes that are in this movie that could have been great weren't as great as they could have been. And the main point is that Ender grows up to be superior to his little army of people, and you're supposed to feel for him, supposed to be like, oh yeah, that's awesome, dude, but I didn't feel for that as much. That being said, that did drag the movie down a bit for me, but ultimately I had fun with this movie. The kid Ender is fantastic as him. He was a really good actor, and Ender was a great character. And all the other characters were good in the movie too, I guess. The movie was exciting, but it didn't live up to what it could have. It could have been better than it was. It could have had less of the training, more of the actual action, rather than trying to shoehorn a bunch of emotional and useless scenes into it just to show how Ender would react. But in the end, I can say that Ender's Game is a good time, no alcohol required. This movie got me interested to read the book. You know when you walk out of something and you know there's a book for it and you haven't read it and it's like, oh, I need to go read the book. Or you already have read it and you're like, I want to go read the book again. This is how I felt. So, Ender's Game. Have you seen it? Have you not? What did you think about it? Comment below. Let me know. And if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.